All right, welcome back to the Peak Performance Podcast. And I tell you what, this episode could go anywhere, Jamie. Welcome to the Andrew Juice Newton-Jarman. Mate, thank you for coming down.
I'm so proud of you two. And thanks for having me. But I am. I'm so proud of what you two have done. Your journey has been incredible. You know, when we're at Peak 1, busted up old bloody facility, roof leaking, gutters falling apart. You've had two little kiddies I had to babysit.
You've kissed and blessed their feet.
Yeah.
Done all that, and saw the determination, the effort, the hard work you both put in, and the bloody sacrifice to get here. This is the first time I walked into Peak 2, got emotional, first time. It's been a great journey. You must be proud. And how do you do it? How do you do it?
A lot of coffee, a very beautiful and understanding wife.
Absolutely.
That's into meditation and yoga and breath work because I can't put up with him.
Breath work?
Yeah.
Got to breathe through it.
Yeah.
Breathe through it.
And got to give a big shout out to both of our sets of parents because
Yes.
they probably spend 97.5% of their time with our kids.
With your two beautiful,
I know Matilda said she wants to move in with Nana, but that's okay. But mate, we couldn't have done it without people like yourself. So for those who don't know our journey, if we rewind back many moons ago when I was PTing essentially, I guess the way you make your way in this industry, I remember sitting down at the time, I think it was with Trent Henschel at the Woodverse Torrens Footy Club, and he said, mate, we'd love to have you work with the program.
That's right.
But we've got no money. So do you want to do some PT out of our facility for free? So I was just working with friends and then sort of girlfriends of players and I met the beautiful Charlie Jarman and was working with her. You know, she has an incredible story herself when she stops popping out babies. You know, maybe we can get her on here as well, you know, with her physical, prowess and the injury she's had. After a little while, she said, my dad's coaching at the Ironbank Football Club. And it's been a couple of years for myself. I'd maybe gained a couple of kilos. And she said that sort of wanted to get a fitness program out there. So I remember my first night driving up Ironbank. I had no idea where it was.
And neither did I.
I'd plugged it into Maps.
Yeah.
Mate, I'd lost reception halfway there. There's like young, sprightly Sean with no facial hair.
That's it.
I was 10 minutes late because I didn't know where I was going.
And that didn't go down well.
No, I saw the big juice. And one thing led to another. We ended up playing and just developed this beautiful relationship, mate. So that then transitioned into coming down to Peak 1, as you talked about, and training down there a couple of times a week. And, you know, the way you supported us, mate, with your not only your attendance, but, you know, helping to spruik us and connecting us with people, I think, you know, it's really interesting because people often see the media juice and, you know, we all know that there's slightly different maybe, you know, I think of it maybe like, you know, like a dimmer. Like sometimes we turn the personality up a little bit when we're doing, your stuff on air. We get to see the real beautiful juice and you are a very generous man. You look after people within your circle so much and I hope everybody out there who hears this just knows what a wonderful human being you are, mate. We're very grateful to sort of have you in our
You brought
circles.
some good tunes to the gym as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've got your three. What are they? What are they?
Well, Sweet Emotions from, right, I love that song. Paradise City and obviously Kashmir are my three favourite songs when I came to Peak 1.
And we knew as soon as those cranked up.
And then the other people that had their music on, they had to just step aside. I was there for 40 minutes, wasn't I? And if I didn't get my three songs, you had to come down and calm me down.
We had to,
and Jamie did.
Yeah, I had to put my foot down on a number of occasions, Joe. We had to sort of, when the basketballers were in and playing some of their questionable sort of hip-hop tunes.
And I had to be, you actually had to say to me, Juice, just let it go. Anyway, but it was just fantastic. No, thank you for your kind words. But like I said, your journey, the two of you, has been extraordinary. So as a just very proud to see how you're tracking.
We appreciate
well done.
it. No, well, mate, anyway, this is not about us. This is about you, Big Juice. And as I sort of mentioned prior to the podcast and what we've said a number of times with our other guests is a lot of what we want to try to focus on here, and we can go down a number of avenues, but is people's relationship with training. So, you know, you don't have to necessarily stick to that. But where I want to get your perspective is maybe let's rewind, not the full journey, but you know, when you first came into the AFL system and it was almost, let's say, semi-professional and you still had a job and those sorts of things, like I want to hear about the balance of that. But also, I'd love to hear about sort of your approach to training and what you thought about the fitness side of things, because I know you're a very skillful player, Juice. But let's rewind back to that time, mate.
Yeah. Well, it started obviously back in the 80s when I was playing for the North LA Footy Club. It was I would say it was not community type training, but it was slowly getting to a level of a bit more professional, because our senior coach at the time, Michael Noonan, worked at the Institute of Sport. He was the director of the Institute of Sport that in Kidman Park somewhere.
Yeah.
So we had the resources to use those facilities under Michael Noonan in the 80s. We were an offensive side. We became very powerful runners. I still always believe that skill wins, tactics don't, because it's all about the skill level of a player by hand and foot and having a good knowledge of what you're doing. But anyway, so it was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, play Saturday, go out all night Saturday night, wake up crook Sunday, and start again. That's how that was the how it was back then. And there was no weights. There was no weights room. There was
You'd have no job, Sean Baker.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have a job. No yoga.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't
I wouldn't have a job either. We're in trouble here.
And it was, the junk food. It was messy, but you still rocked up. And you got through. You played 18 games, and then you played finals, and you'd be done with. And then there was no pre-season would start at a certain time and then back again. So nothing really changed. But then Michael Noonan started to get us involved in I'd say 86, 87 in the Institute of Sport there. So we started to learn about taking our blood, getting on the treadmill, oxygen mask, all this kind of stuff. And you're going, hang on. Then we started doing 1K time trials. Then we're doing 2K time trials. All of a sudden we go, oh, hello, this is a new world, but there was no focus on weights. There was no focus on body weights, the diets, the food. Back then I think I loaded up too much on carbs, soft drinks, lollies, all that kind of stuff, which is not in today's players. They won't go near that stuff, which is fantastic because the education's great. But anyway, so I got a taste of it at the end of 80s, and then the Crows formed in 91, and then I had a full-time job with Cooper's Brewery back in the day in the early 90s. Then the Crows formed, and then it was, wow, what the hell's all this? Because we were training 6 out of the 7 days. So I had Charlie. I think that we were just having Steph. It was, and we had to squeeze in so much training to play VFL footy, AFL footy back then, AFL, because they felt physically we were a bit behind than the Victorian teams because they were strong legs because the grounds were heavier. We were a running side. We'd run on top of a carpet, and we're all skill based. That's okay, but And then Leon Holmes, I don't know if you remember him. He was a weights guru back in the day.
Just don't ask Jamie what year she was born. If you're playing professional football in 91.
91.
91.
Sorry.
Dear Lord.
But he then became the weights coach.
Yeah.
Then that just started to come in. And I hated weights. I didn't think weights were good for me. I just wanted to be fast on my feet, quick with my hand, all that kind of stuff. Can
you remember what a weights program looked like back in the day?
A lot of leg squats.
Yeah.
A lot of legs. Upper body was more, if you couldn't do 110 benchy, you're not playing AFL footy.
Yeah, right.
It was some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then they started bringing in the dietitian. Then they started bringing in this, and I could start to see it. Oh, here we go.
Was that exciting for you, or did you feel like it was sort of losing a bit of its character at that point in time? I know maybe with hindsight, we all here, particularly, and big shout out to Robbie Acourt. We love Robbie Acourt, but
G'day, Rob.
We have this this debate of where footy is now compared to where it was in the 80s and those sorts of things too. Can you remember at the time thinking, I don't like this. I don't like where it's going. Or was it exciting because you're thinking maybe I can move away from
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't really embrace it. But in hindsight, if I did embrace it, I reckon I would even be a better player. You know, I was very grateful with what my footy career finished up, but I cut a lot of corners. I cheated the system, to be honest with you. I don't think my 110 games for AFL was at the level it should have been. I think in the 80s, I had a 4 or 5 year period where I felt wow. But if I had all this knowledge now, I could have even done whatever I'd done. But I think I cheated the system for 110 games for 6 years in the Crows as a mid 20-year-old, couple of kids.
I'm sure you're being harsh on yourself. I guess we don't know what we don't know though, right?
True.
And you were a part of something that's inaugural, so it was all brand new. As you said, you're coming out of having 1, 2 kids, working a full-time job, and then shifting to being a sort of semi-professional, professional athlete. Like that's a
Are you
juggle.
finding that now though?
Oh, look, we juggle a few balls, but like you said, like we're very grateful for what we have, and pros and cons. Like yes, things are crazy, and we're always at the other end of the phone and you never really get to fully switch off. But conversely, if we need to bring our kids here, like Matilda runs around here and thinks nothing different of it, right?
True.
She thinks that all our members here are her extended family, and, Harrison runs around as well. So, yeah, look, it definitely is a juggle, but also it has its, like, pros too.
But what a great environment for them, though.
Yeah.
You know, when they'll know nothing else.
Well, we have to say a cute little story the other day.
What happened?
My heart exploded.
Matilda, no, it was beautiful. Matilda came home and said, "Mum, Dad, I want to have my first training session with Dad." And Sean nearly burst into tears.
Yeah.
He moved hell and earth to make sure that he could have a training session with Matilda.
I had a really busy afternoon, and Jamie's like, it's going to be too tough. I said, she's coming to work with me right now. We're going to get Poppy to come pick her up afterwards. So it was
That's beautiful.
One of the top 3 moments of my entire life.
Great.
We had a little obstacle course going. She did a few chin-ups. She wanted to do burpees, which I don't think I've ever prescribed in my life. But it was amazing. And I've always said, I don't know sort of if you feel the same way.
Great.
We are fortunate here. We get to work with lots of youth athletes, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. But in some instances, we've seen some ugly parenting across the journey.
Yeah.
We see some parents that say, my kid is the best thing since sliced bread. They're going to be
what's going to happen when little William's out on the football field? Are you going to be ugly grandparenting, or are you going to let him go?
No, and that's one of my bugbears. I coached community footy for 20 plus years, and every day that interferes with their siblings' career, you're basically ruining it. You're ruining their career. Yeah. So shut up, stay away. Yeah. All you are is a taxi driver. All you are is to go and buy their equipment and to just be there and support them. Shut up.
I couldn't agree anymore. And the pressure we've seen on these kids. So where I was going with that is I just don't want to put any pressure at all. I don't care if they're librarians or professional gamers or whatever it is. Like I actually half anticipated they're going to be sick of the gym by the time they're 12. But anyway, that was very beautiful.
The thing that I think is really important is what I've seen is at the end of the day, it's about wellness and being healthy and happy. Is that what life's about?
Absolutely.
But the expectations on today's kids are enormous and it's out of control. It's way out of control. The stress. So here's the new word, which you obviously now are picking up on: performance anxiety.
Yep,
is creeping in. Creeping in. What the hell? Where did this come from? Where did this come from?
Yeah, we've
social media have got a lot to answer for. Yes, there's benefits. Don't get me wrong. But the anxiety of today's players, more so in the AFL, are earning between $400,000 to $1 million a game. Some of them don't even want to get out of bed and play. That is a worry for the AFL.
I think that's one of the scariest parts of being a parent. And we had Brodie Smith in here a few episodes ago.
Saw that great interview.
Yeah, and
love him.
He is a wonderful human.
Yeah.
And the thing about him sitting at home scrolling and seeing, like he talked about his own supporters.
Yeah.
Celebrating the fact that he's not playing.
Yeah,
a bloke who's been a custodian, a great contributor to that club for more than 250 games.
He's been a wonderful player, and he gets treated like shit. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, so
they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're cowards, mate, because they hide behind their mobile phones. They can.
speaking on that wellness side of things, I'd like to maybe delve a little bit deeper into that. Obviously, your lovely wife, Marion, is deeply ingrained into kinesiology.
Yes.
I know she's an amazing massage therapist, loves all of that sort of holistic wellness. I don't know if those words were getting thrown around at all in the early days of footy for you, if that's something you ever sort of experienced or dabbled in, but obviously now you are sort of uptaking some of those things through Marion. How's that journey been, and where are you at with that now?
Well, it's been good, Jamie. It's been really good, and seeing Marion's growth, and the way that she's impacted and changed the lives of so many people has just been amazing. She has this great ability to change people's lives. They come in wrecked, but they come out like seeing the sky, seeing brightness, seeing happiness. And I'm not just saying it. I hear it and I see it. It's been incredible what she's done, and she's only been doing it for 2 and a bit years. But it's. I would love to have something like that back in the day. I reckon it would, because it is between the years, as you know, and the way that she can and she's so calm too. That's been good for me.
Well, I can speak from experience. I came and did 2 sessions with her and absolutely loved it. And it's completely sort of on my own. I should make more time to go see her more often.
I think everyone should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think everyone should.
You put it to the bottom of the list, though, don't you? And it shouldn't be. It should be right at the top. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Spot on. And the yoga side of things, I did a little bit, but I'd like to do a bit more of that. I think that was really good for me. And I rang you to book in, but you didn't ring me back,
Jamie.
Oh,
my God. I think I did.
She was in labour. I think she was in labour at the time.
I've got to let it go. No, I think you did.
Can we still be friends after this?
No, you did love me.
No,
Again,
I think it's...
I didn't follow through.
I think that's great. And it's great to see, without making any further age jokes, somebody of your demographic really embracing that.
59.
59, there you go. Are you going to do anything special for the 60th quickly?
Well, I don't want to say too much. No, they're just numbers. They're bloody numbers.
Exactly.
It's not up here. I've still got the mentality of a 25-year-old.
We need to introduce you to a man who we will get on the podcast named Skip, who's 76 years old.
Oh, boy.
And he comes in, he shoots like he's a 20-year-old.
Stop it.
But
He's
he does the snake bit every morning. But
we might have to play Spotify on our phone for Skipper to listen to this podcast, because he came to us and we said, right, we'll set all your gym membership stuff up, and have you got your phone? Like, we've used Bluetooth on your phone to get into the gym, and he said, pulled out this, I don't know, Nokia brick and said, I'm not sure if this has Bluetooth.
Anyway, he's amazing. You just have to at least block out 3 or 4 hours of your day.
Loves the chat.
He loves the story.
Yeah, nice.
Anyway, but that just goes to your point of, age is just a number. What I was going to say, though, is that you've embraced it. Yeah. Do you find that there's any resistance from maybe others in your cohort, other guys your age who are resistant to change? Go, Jars, what are you doing bloody yoga on the beach out the front of Henley, and what's this kinesiology shit? Do you get some of that from your mates, or are you seeing that guys are pretty open to change?
I'm seeing a change.
Okay,
I'm seeing a change because the pressure's so demanding now for mums and dads and kids. It's pressure to go to school, and people are now looking for an outlet to down tools to mentally and physically just take a breather, because it's fast, it's furious, it's hectic, and the time flies. Before you know it, it's bloody they're adults, and before you know it, I'll be in another life. So it is. I'm seeing a change. I don't have any of that kickback. Oh, what are you bloody doing that for?
Which is good, because maybe in times gone by.
Well, I think the generations are getting better in terms of looking after their bodies and who they are, and I'm seeing it because football clubs now have so many professionals looking after them.
Yeah.
So those generation of players have got it already there. Where my generation, no, we had to survive, and we were very grateful what we had, and that's why when the Crows went full time in 1998, the whole world changed in terms of today's footballers. Prior to that, there was still a little bit of innocence, still a bit of purity about it all. But now it's, like Tony Modra and I couldn't stand weights when we did a weights class, and we'd put all the powder on and the belt on and we'd walk around, but we didn't realise there was cameras in the weights room, and we'd get caught out and we'd hide in the sports, in the pool.
Now, I don't know if it was you that told me this or another one of our connections. Was there a story potentially? It might have been even Rowie that told me that there was maybe a time trial or like a 10K run around West Lakes.
Yeah.
And did you or some of the boys jump in a car halfway through and get driven around? Is that true? Have you heard that, or were you
that's
part
a
of
correct story.
Yes.
Yeah, just be careful where you go with that, mate.
Okay.
All right? I think Graham Corns listens to this podcast.
Okay.
He loves his show. Yeah, but
Sorry,
back
Cornsy.
then you did all those funny things.
Yeah, great.
Hide behind a bush and jump into a creek bed, and then have some water in your fridge. But they were the fun days.
Of course.
Yeah. Now they're monitored to the inch of their life, and good on them, and they're getting paid for it. But it's been a.
You're allowed to give us your honest opinion, mate. You can say you don't like it or it's shit or
Today's footy.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of it's garbage. A lot of it is shit. To be honest
that's
with you.
fair. That's
because I think there's too many teams and there's too many fringe players playing.
Yeah.
All right. To be honest with you.
For sure.
But good luck to them.
That's
Luck to them, and get out there and do the best you can.
For sure.
Yeah, I like watching high quality football and sport.
Let's take a little dive sort of now into coaching, because obviously you've now been coaching and that's how we met each other, which is exciting. And have you maybe been coaching for longer than you were playing for potentially?
I think so, yeah.
How have you had to sort of change your approach, given the fact we've been talking about all these changes in, let's say, professionalism, and then we've talked about generational changes as well. Have you been really mindful in that, or has it been pretty consistent for you?
Well, I've gone from a skills coach. I love teaching skill. I've gone to a demanding coach. Now I've become a father figure. I've now become a mentor, become a friend. And that's 20 plus years of coaching Sandful and Waffle and community football.
Yep.
So you've got to evolve. And I'm still trying to chase something.
Yeah.
What that is, I don't know. Actually, I do know. Perfection. I want to see a game of football with perfection. I'll never get it, but I'm chasing it. But you've got to chase something, don't you?
So,
Absolutely.
Sorry, Maz, does that mean that Juice is never retiring? Every year he sits down with his beautiful wife, Marion, and says,
Not this
don't worry,
year. Not this
we're
year.
going on a Europe trip next winter.
She does say
And
that, Jamie.
every year she'll log on to social media and see Fitzy announcing that he's just signed for another 5 more years.
Thanks, Fitzy. Thanks, Fitzy. But it's I'm chasing something. What that is, I don't know.
That's what gets you up and out of bed, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think you've got
absolutely
to have that reach for the stars and,
Yeah.
I love it. I love the blend, because I've been fortunate enough to be coached by you, and I loved it. And I never handballed, I know. I never gave the first give.
Some things you can't change.
But what I found with Juice was this beautiful blend of coaching and performance as well. Juice, there's some great stories, some infamous stories that I sort of tell people this day. Probably my best one was, and again, sorry for the language here, team, but
doesn't matter.
we were talking, we played against maybe Uradla, who were going well at the time, and
yeah.
you brought us in and you said, boys. I used to love the big competitions, boy, the big games.
Yeah, that's it.
I won 5 Foss Williams medals. Should have been fucking 7. And then walked away. I said, Juice, where am I playing today, mate?
Sometimes
One of my
you
all-time great footy memories. I love it.
Sometimes you make it about yourself.
Oh,
but sometimes you got to be a storyteller as well.
Oh, mate, and that's community footy.
Yeah,
It's fun
is.
as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
As I said, some of my fondest memories, mate. Really enjoy it. Let's talk a little bit about career. And obviously, it's been well publicised. You've had a bit of a challenging time. Can you explain to us a bit about that?
20 plus years in the radio industry, and it's
Number one rating show.
It was,
show.
yeah. But and you're working with some beautiful people, because it's about building relationships. So Bernie, Vince, and Greg Bloor, the three of us have this beautiful bond and love, and that was portrayed every Monday to Friday, 4 till 6. And then when something's taken away from you, when you don't, unexpectedly, you don't go into you could slip into a rabbit hole, and then it's, as you know, it's hard to get out.
Yeah.
And we talk about mental well-being and mental health, but it was tough. It was hard to understand, but their decisions are made, and you got to respect the decisions. You just got to. Okay, I had 20 plus years at Triple M, beautiful people. It's just a great organisation to work for, and their decisions are made. And then 124 days later, even though I wasn't counting, you get a phone call to come back and do a little bit more on a Saturday morning. So yeah, it was tough. How do you deal with that? So that's the question: is how do people deal with losing their job and then losing a family member and all that kind of stuff? So I had to work through all that. And
did you lean on anybody in particular, or did you sort of just
only Marion?
Yeah, of course. For sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice, maybe potentially for those who go through something like? Obviously, yours was probably more public. We've had Jared Walsh on as well, who've talked about and his philosophy is that we all do similar things, but some people are more public than others. Maybe there's been somebody who's been made redundant or lost a job or something along those lines. Do you have any advice as to how they may be able to navigate that scenario?
I think you need a bit of time to yourself. I think you need to just unpack it and just right before you go out reaching and seeing. So I still don't have a full-time job. You still, and yet I'm busier than I've ever been. I don't know how. And Marion's gone, but you don't work. I said, love. I'm working on it. It's. I don't think there's a rule book, is there?
No.
I think it's your beautiful family around you, and then it's your circle of friends, and then you find out who are your friends. Because I have some close friends, as you know. I got a little circle, but I have a lot of acquaintances.
Yep.
It's the close friends that all reached out. The acquaintances didn't.
Do you think the public nature of it all contributed to how you felt, or is it all just as devastating?
Because there was a lot of publicity regarding it, and we go, wow, where's this? So we must have reached out to a lot of people and made their lives better for 2 hours. So that was overwhelming, to be honest with you, for all of us, even though Bernie got another job straight away with a breakfast show. And Greg and I are now doing our own little podcast. But, it was there was days where you go, wow, why do I need to get out of bed? But then you got to think, hang on. You're the papa bear of your clan, and you got to put a front on every now and then. They need you out there. Yeah, but Marion was really strong, and she was fantastic, and the kids were great. So I was blessed and lucky, where a lot of people aren't. They're not. They don't have that support like you guys do. So,
did you find yourself, let's say in those initial stages when you weren't as busy, did you use exercise much at all, or did you feel like you didn't want to move?
I nearly went in that rabbit hole. I thought I nearly was slipping in there.
Yep.
I wasn't coming here. This is the first time I've been here at peak 2.
Yep.
I've just thought, I've got to get back at some stage, and then I thought maybe I've got to be exercising, but that I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
I need to stay fit, healthy. I need to be around people. I need people like you to push me. And bloody Zeke boy down there pushing.
We're excited that you booked in with Zeke again next week.
No, here you go, James. I rang Zeke. He didn't ring me back. What's going on here?
Me and Zeke are in the same category.
What's going on here?
Zeke did say to me, Juice's pocket dialed me. That's how long
it's
been.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
Hey, Juice, book me in, mate. I'm ready to go again. It's Juice.
Do you think that, when you do get back into it, which is soon because you've made that sort of call out, is that going to be with any specific purpose in mind? Do you think it's going to be to get moving? Is it to... we know you love to make a little sort of appearance here and there in C-grade local football.
That's the boy.
Which I'm excited about. And, it's not too long until I join you in the over 35. So I've still got 33. So I'm close. I'm getting close.
You're still at your
I think we can get a permit for one player under 35. But anyway.
How about Sam Miles?
Yeah.
Sean Baker and the Juice.
Shout out to Sam Miles as well.
Pull on a Guernsey together.
And our sons.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Harrison.
Right. That's why I've got to keep fit. But do you have a specific purpose in mind, or is it just to stay healthy?
It's everything. It's all that. You got to have, like I say, you got to find, you got to chase something. And if I'm going to say I'm going to play 1 or 2 C grade games of footy, which I enjoy, well, I've got to. Okay, well, that's what I'm chasing. I need to get prepared for that, and then start getting going again. Like I haven't done anything since I finished up at peak 1. I think I don't know what happened there. I must have just been cooked. So that's too long. And then the radio got too much because we were flat out. And then you're drinking shit and eating crap, and you're going to functions, and it's like it doesn't stop.
Yep. I guess what I want you to know as well though is, And for anybody who's maybe had one of those ruts too, certainly from our perspective, there's no judgment, when you come back. I think what I've seen, I can't remember, I might have touched on this in a previous podcast. I've certainly done a post about it before, is we see a lot of instances where, whether it's other members or even sometimes coaches, I don't think they necessarily mean any harm, but they'll make some sort of like joke. Oh, where have you been? Hello, stranger. What's going on? You're still a member here. And I've never seen an instance where that goes really well. I've only ever seen instances where it puts people off more. They go back into their shell and potentially discourages them from coming back again as well. So I think for anybody out there who's listening and sees somebody who they haven't seen for a long period of time, try to rephrase it. Great to see you again, mate. Sorry our schedules haven't lined up. What have you been up to? Hope you've been well. Sorry, it's been so long. Those sorts of things. A little bit more of a positive spin. Because
when I rocked up, you were waiting at the door, big hug, and then Jamie come flying down, and then it was just beautiful. What a welcome. No, that was really, it wasn't, Zeke, a big hug, and then you put my 3 beautiful songs on, and then all your other gym people going, what the hell? What has happened?
It was a whirlwind.
Who's this? Who's this loud mouth junkhead?
Well, a few more visits and we will get your poster up on the wall as well, mate. You have to be there for the
reveal.
reveal.
I'll get emotional. Nah, it's all good.
Hey, Juice, that takes us through, so we keep it reasonably tight.
Good.
I think we're going to go have a coffee and some lunch and talk for another 3 hours. But, mate, thank you so much for your support for such a period of time. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for continuing to, spread us to your people and your circles. We're super excited to have you back in. We're excited for your little clan to continue to grow with Charlie and a couple of little munchkins on the way as well, mate. And I hope you just know how many lives that you do impact, that you've changed.
Thank you.
How many people were devastated when what happened to you did happen. And we can't wait to see sort of what's next for the Big Juice Man.
You two keep up the good work that you're doing, because you have changed people's lives. So don't ever forget that.
Thank you, great man.
Keep backing yourselves in. No more children?
You ready? No, it's not going to be an announcement. Don't worry about that. No. How about we'll wait and see how Charlie goes with 3? And I'll judge it off of that. I'll judge it off of that.
You both look great.
If Harrison was a bit more like Matilda, it'd probably be yes straight away.
Unfortunately, he's a mini Sean.
He's he's wild. He's wild.
wild.
I look at him and think, how's Jamie put up with this for 15 years?
Great mother. Well done. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, great man. Really appreciate it. So there you have it. Our chat with the exceptionally funny Andrew Jarman. The first thing that I took out of that was his take on ugly parenting and trying to reduce the performance pressure on young athletes. And secondly, he sees the value, even though he's of a different demographic and came through at a different time. He sees the value in sports science and strength and conditioning, and potentially thinks he could have squeezed a bit more out of his career if he had access to those when he was going through the ranks.